mentioned the bandwagon effect. Let's talk about that briefly.
Well, it just, if there is in different parts of the scientific community, a lack of consensus on this, then how was it that in such a short space of time, the international community, governments, public opinion are mobilized, and we were struck by that, and we noticed that, I guess one of the things was that the importance of the media in our culture and in our public and private lives today is so much greater than it was a few generations ago, certainly 100 years ago, and that the media lives by the law that good news doesn't sell as well as bad news, and that there seems to be in people in general, and societies historically, kind of a predisposition or a readiness to get pumped up around certain issues that generate fear. I mean, what are the going back to the we talked about the year 2000, the Y2K hysteria practically that had hundreds of millions and billions of dollars being pumped into fiddling around with our computer systems because everything was going to stop on the year 2000. Our cars weren't going to run, our power plants weren't going to function, and in fact nothing happened. And then we went back 1,000 years, and at the just on the eve of the first millennium, you had mass hysteria and movements sweeping Europe that the world was going to end in the year 1000. And 1000 came and went. You had periodically similar, smaller, the world is coming to an end, mass hysterias among both smaller groups of masses of religious groups or sects and so on. We saw it around the population bomb movement of the 1970s that assured us that by now we would have 12 or 15 million people, and then there would be nothing to eat, and we'd be like ants crawling all over the earth, and
yeah, there seems to be something in human nature that has to be concerned that there's a disaster just around the corner. You play that, I think, basic human element of human nature with the media. In our time, because of we're in a more scientific age, it has to have some scientific credibility. It has to be some part of the scientific community behind it, whether it's global warming or whether it's the Club of Rome or the year 2000. But this seems to, I mean, it's extraordinary that in such a short period of time, Canadians who used to be worried about health care now say, well, we have to push that off the table. Now we have to worry about global warming.
One of the questions was, did this just happen? Just the media, or were there other factors and interests involved in boosting or hyping the global warming? I don't want to say global warming scare, because there's a lot of people that feel it's a legitimate thing. I don't want to imply that it's fraudulent, but it certainly has been hyped and promoted. And did that just happen because it's a legitimate thing? Did it happen because there was a media interest in promoting something from either a bad news or a contrarian perspective? Or were there other factors involved? And you can get on the slippery slope kind of where you have a number of people saying, well, this was all sort of a UN and liberal conspiracy. I think my view is that is not an adequate explanation. This is just reflects a societal tendency to work itself up, mobilize itself around issues that reflect that fundamental ontological unease that we have as human beings.
I think when we went into the subject, Pierre, again, our group, I think we have a range of views on questions. We're not arch conservatives. We're not arch.
Well, some of us are not.
Well, with a few exceptions. But we didn't expect to have as many questions. That was what it was, and we ended up, I think, believing that sure there could well be major problems in global warming, but we should not accept the views of people who say science is clear.
That's right. Yeah.
This is the way the causality works, and it's not acceptable that anybody say, well, is it really all that definitive?
Yeah. And then, we have the whole question of, even if it is an issue, was the Kyoto Protocol the way to go? And if it's not an issue as defined by the Kyoto movement, then what else should we be doing, if anything?
Well, let's get together another time and do Kyoto.
Okay.
Okay.